Some of you grew up wondering why you felt different from the rest of your family. You wondered why you carried a burden they didn't understand, why you thought differently, why your heart was restless, why you couldn't fully fit into the patterns around you. You thought something was wrong with you. But listen to me with clarity and courage. Nothing is wrong with you. You are the chosen vessel. You are the divine interruption in a generational story that needed change. God did not place you in your family to be swallowed by it. He placed you there to transform it. God chooses individuals within families to carry light where there has been darkness, to carry wisdom where there has been ignorance, to carry courage where there has been fear. You are not just another member of your family tree. You are a branch that was designed to bear new fruit. Your presence is prophetic. Your existence is intentional. Your life is a message written by God. Look at your family history. Look at the patterns, the struggles, the cycles that repeat themselves from generation to generation. Maybe there is poverty that keeps returning, broken relationships that never heal, anger that passes from parent to child, fear that controls decisions, silence where there should have been love. And you ask yourself, why was I born here? Why this family? Why these people? You were born there because God needed a carrier of change, and He chose you. You were chosen to be the interruption. You were chosen to be the voice that speaks when everyone else stays silent. You were chosen to be the one who seeks God when others seek distraction. You were chosen to be the one who forgives when others hold grudges. You were chosen to rise above what wounded your ancestors and to write a new story with your life. God does not make mistakes with placement. He does not randomly assign souls to families. Every placement is a divine strategy. When God looked at your family, He saw what was missing, what was broken, what was needed, and He sent you as an answer. You are an answer in human form. Some of you were born into families that did not understand you, that misunderstood your dreams, that questioned your faith, that mocked your sensitivity, that criticized your difference, and you felt alone, even in your own home. But God often chooses the misunderstood one, the quiet one, the observant one, the deep thinker, the one who feels the pain of others more strongly. He chooses them because they are the ones who will seek Him, who will hear His whisper, who will carry His purpose into places where His presence was ignored. God chose you in your family because He saw a leader in you, even if no one else did. He saw a healer in you, even if you were wounded. He saw a restorer in you, even if you grew up in chaos. He saw a teacher in you, even if you never had good teachers. He saw a light in you, even if you were surrounded by shadows. Your family might have been the very training ground for your purpose. The challenges were not meant to destroy you. They were meant to shape you. The misunderstandings were not meant to silence you. They were meant to deepen you. The hardships were not meant to break you. They were meant to refine you. God often forges His chosen ones in the furnace of their own households because He knows that what you survive there will prepare you to bless the world beyond there. You were chosen to be a bridge between what was and what will be. Your ancestors carried certain traits, certain habits, certain beliefs, and now God has placed you at the turning point. You stand at the crossroads of generations. Behind you is history, in front of you is destiny. And God is looking at you and saying, will you be the one who changes the story? God chooses one in a family to awaken others. Sometimes that awakening is silent. Sometimes it is loud, sometimes it is through words, sometimes through actions, sometimes through suffering, sometimes through success. But the chosen one always carries a weight that others don't feel, a calling that others don't understand, a restlessness that pushes them beyond the comfort of tradition. You might have noticed that you question things others accept. You seek meaning where others seek routine. You long for purpose where others settle for survival. That is not rebellion, that is divine stirring. God placed that hunger in you because you are not meant to live an ordinary inherited life. You are meant to live a purposeful, God-guided life that shifts your entire family line. Some of you carry guilt because you feel you don't fit into your family's expectations. You feel guilty for wanting more, for thinking differently, for believing differently, for dreaming differently. But understand this, God's call often separates you before it elevates you. He will make you different so that you can make a difference. God chose you because He trusted you with responsibility. He trusted you with influence. He trusted you with transformation. When He looked at your family, He did not just see their flaws, He saw your potential. He saw the seed of change in your heart. He saw the courage in your spirit. He saw the faith that would rise in you even when others doubted. You are not just a product of your family. You are a messenger to your family. Your life is a sermon without words. Your resilience is a testimony. Your kindness is a revolution. Your faith is a declaration that God is still at work in your bloodline. There are times when being chosen feels lonely. You may feel isolated, misunderstood, and even rejected, but loneliness often precedes leadership. Isolation often precedes revelation. Rejection often precedes divine selection. God often separates the chosen one so that they can hear Him clearly, so that they can stand firmly, so that they can walk boldly without being controlled by the fear of family opinions. Do not resent your family for not understanding you. Do not despise your roots. Do not curse your history. Instead, see yourself as the gardener planted in a wild field. You are there to cultivate, to prune, to plant new seeds. You are there to show what is possible when someone walks with God. God chose you to carry wisdom into conversations that lacked wisdom. He chose you to bring compassion into relationships that lacked compassion. He chose you to introduce faith into spaces that lacked faith. He chose you to embody integrity in environments where compromise was normal. You may have noticed that people in your family come to you for advice, even if they don't admit it. They watch you. Even if they criticize you, they are influenced by you, even if they resist you. That is because God has given you a spiritual authority in your family, whether they recognize it or not. Sometimes the chosen one is the youngest. Sometimes the chosen one is the oldest. Sometimes the chosen one is the quiet middle child. God does not choose based on position. He chooses based on purpose. He chooses based on the heart He has shaped. He chooses based on the role He has prepared you to play. You were chosen to see beyond your family's limitations. You were chosen to imagine a future your ancestors never imagined. You were chosen to break chains that others thought were unbreakable. You were chosen to rewrite narratives that were considered destiny. When you feel pressure, remember this, pressure reveals calling. When you feel responsibility, remember this, responsibility confirms purpose. When you feel a burden for your family, remember this, burden is often the seed of divine assignment. God did not place you in your family to be a silent observer. He placed you there to be a transformative presence. Your prayers matter, your words matter, your choices matter, your example matters, your faith matters. You are a living message that God has not abandoned your lineage. You might feel unqualified, but God does not choose the qualified. He qualifies the chosen. You might feel weak, but God's strength is revealed in those who acknowledge their weakness. You might feel small, but God often starts great revolutions with small, humble hearts. Your family may not see your value, but God saw it before you were born. He saw your courage in your future tears. He saw your wisdom in your future mistakes. He saw your compassion in your future pain. He saw your leadership in your future struggles. God chose you to be a mirror and a window, a mirror that reflects truth to your family, and a window that shows them a new horizon. Sometimes that truth will be uncomfortable. Sometimes that horizon will be frightening. But transformation is rarely comfortable and growth is rarely easy. You were chosen to be a breaker of cycles. Cycles of fear, cycles of abuse, cycles of neglect, cycles of silence, cycles of despair. Your presence is a divine interruption. Your decisions are seeds of a new future. Your faith is a declaration of a different destiny. When you walk in your purpose, your family will change, even if slowly. When you live with integrity, your family will learn integrity. When you show forgiveness, your family will witness forgiveness. When you choose faith, your family will see faith. Your life is a living classroom designed by God. You were chosen not just to survive your family story, but to transcend it. You were chosen not just to endure your family environment, but to elevate it. You were chosen not just to be shaped by your family, but to shape your family. There is a sacred weight on your life. Not a burden to crush you, but a calling to lift you. God placed you where you are because He believes in what you can become. He believes in what you can change. He believes in the impact you can make. When you feel overwhelmed, remember that God does not call without equipping. When you feel afraid, remember that God does not choose without guiding. When you feel tired, remember that God does not assign without sustaining. You are not alone in your assignment. God walks with you in your family conversations, in your silent prayers, in your private struggles, in your public victories. He is present in every moment where you choose love over anger, wisdom over impulse, faith over fear. Your family may not understand the depth of your calling, but heaven understands. Your family may not recognize your anointing, but God recognizes it. Your family may not celebrate your difference, but God designed it. You were chosen to be a light in familiar darkness, and light does not argue with the darkness, it simply shines. Shine with kindness, shine with courage, shine with faith, shine with wisdom, shine with compassion. Let your life be a quiet sermon that speaks louder than any argument. God chose you because He saw a future that required your presence. He saw generations that would be affected by your choices. He saw lives that would be touched by your words. He saw hearts that would be healed by your compassion. Your story is bigger than you. Your placement is bigger than convenience. Your calling is bigger than comfort. You are a strategic soul in a strategic family at a strategic time. There is a reason your spirit feels stirred when you think about your family. There is a reason you feel a weight that others seem unaware of. That weight is not meant to crush you, it is meant to awaken you. God placed a calling on your life that stretches beyond personal success. He placed you in your family as a watchman, as a reformer, as a seed of a new future. You carry the echo of generations behind you, but you also carry the blueprint of generations ahead of you. You were chosen because God saw that your family needed a voice that would not stay silent. He saw that your family needed a heart that would not grow cold. He saw that your family needed a mind that would not be enslaved by old limitations. He saw that your family needed a soul that would seek Him with sincerity, and He saw that soul in you. Sometimes you wonder why you feel so deeply, why you are affected by words others brush off, why injustice troubles you, why hypocrisy disturbs you, why brokenness makes you ache. That sensitivity is not weakness, it is divine perception. God chose you because He entered someone in your family who could feel what others ignore, who could see what others deny, who could care when others are numb. You were chosen because God knew you would wrestle with truth rather than accept lies. You would seek meaning rather than accept emptiness. You would pursue purpose rather than accept routine. Your questions are not rebellion. They are a sign that God is shaping a mind that will not settle for spiritual sleep. God often selects the one who feels out of place because that person is not meant to conform but to transform. He often selects the one who feels alone because that person is learning to rely on Him. He often selects the one who struggles because that person will learn to depend on His strength. You were chosen to be a carrier of courage. Courage to speak truth when silence is easier. Courage to forgive when resentment is justified. Courage to love when bitterness is tempting. Courage to stand with God when others stand with comfort. Your family history may be filled with stories of fear, of limitation, of failure, of brokenness. But God does not choose based on history. He chooses based on destiny. He saw your lineage and He saw your future. He saw the chains and He saw the key. He saw the wounds and He saw the healing. And He decided to send you as part of His answer. There are times when you may feel angry at your circumstances. You may feel frustrated that you had to learn lessons the hard way. But God often places His chosen ones in difficult environments to cultivate wisdom, compassion, and spiritual authority. What you endured has given you insight that comfort never could. You were chosen to be a bridge between generations. Your grandparents carried one way of thinking. Your parents carried another, and now you stand in the middle with the ability to synthesize wisdom and challenge error. You are a living intersection of tradition and transformation. God chose you because He saw that you would not only survive your family story, but would interpret it with wisdom. You would see patterns and choose a different path. You would recognize dysfunction and choose health. You would see fear and choose faith. You may feel pressure to carry your family's hopes, fears, and expectations, but remember, God's calling is higher than family expectations. Sometimes you will have to walk a path they do not understand. Sometimes you will have to make choices they do not support. Sometimes you will have to follow God even when your family does not follow you. That is the weight and the honor of being chosen. You were chosen because God wanted a living testimony in your household, a testimony that faith can exist in difficult environments, a testimony that love can exist in imperfect families, a testimony that purpose can exist in confusion. Your life is a message that God's light is not limited by human circumstances. When you choose patience, you shift the atmosphere of your home. When you choose kindness, you plant seeds in hardened hearts. When you choose faith, you open doors that were once closed. Your daily choices are spiritual actions with generational consequences. God chose you because He saw leadership in your spirit. Leadership is not about control, it is about influence. You influence through your words, through your reactions, through your values, through your example. Even when you are silent, your life speaks. You were chosen to be a reformer. But reformers are rarely celebrated at first. They are often resisted, misunderstood, and criticized. But God does not measure success by applause. He measures it by obedience. Your family may not see your spiritual depth, but God sees it. Your family may not appreciate your calling, but God honors it. Your family may not understand your path, but God guides it. There is a divine tension in being chosen. You love your family deeply, yet you are called to rise beyond some of their patterns. You respect your roots, yet you are called to grow new branches. You carry their legacy, yet you are called to reshape it. That tension is holy. That tension is purposeful. You were chosen to demonstrate what alignment with God looks like in everyday life, not through perfection, but through sincerity. Not through arrogance, but through humility. not through fear, but through trust. God chose you because He saw that you would seek Him even when answers are unclear. You would pray even when outcomes are uncertain. You would believe even when evidence is lacking. That faith is rare, and God entrusts rare faith with rare assignments. You may feel tired of carrying emotional responsibility in your family. You may feel drained by being the mediator, the peacemaker, the listener. But remember, God often places His chosen ones in positions where their empathy becomes their ministry. You were chosen to model emotional intelligence, spiritual maturity, and ethical courage. When others react, you reflect. When others explode, you respond. When others retreat, you engage. That difference is not accidental, it is divine training. God chose you because He saw that your words would carry weight, that your presence would carry peace, that your vision would carry hope. You are not just part of your family, you are a force within it. Your struggles have given you authority. Your tears have given you depth. Your questions have given you wisdom. Your endurance has given you strength. Everything you have walked through has been shaping you for influence. You were chosen to be a living reminder that destiny is not dictated by dysfunction. That calling is not canceled by chaos. That purpose is not erased by pain. God placed you where you are because He believes in restoration. He believes in transformation. He believes in redemption. He believes you can be a carrier of those realities in your family. When you feel discouraged, remember that God often plants His strongest seeds in the most challenging soil. When you feel alone, remember that God often walks closest to those He is preparing for leadership. When you feel misunderstood, remember that clarity often comes after isolation. You were chosen to teach your family through your example that it is possible to change, possible to grow, possible to heal. Your life is a moving sermon. Your choices are living scriptures. Your journey is a divine narrative. God chose you not because you are perfect, but because you are willing to learn, willing to change, willing to forgive, willing to seek Him. That willingness is more powerful than talent, more powerful than tradition, more powerful than fear. You stand in a sacred position. You are the answer to prayers your ancestors never knew how to pray. You are the response to struggles they thawed. HT were permanent. You are the evidence that God is still active in your lineage. There is a sacred mystery in how God selects one heart within a household and ignites it with vision. While others may live only in the present, God awakens you to eternity. While others may be content with survival, God stirs you towards significance. While others may repeat patterns without question, God places a fire in you that refuses to accept inherited limitations. That fire is not rebellion, it is revelation. It is the whisper of destiny burning in your spirit, reminding you that you were born for more than repetition. God chose you because He saw that your soul would not be satisfied with shallow living. He saw that you would hunger for meaning, thirst for truth, and long for alignment with His will. In a family where many may follow habit, God raised you to follow purpose. In a lineage where many may follow tradition blindly, God raised you to follow wisdom. In a home where many may follow fear, God raised you to follow faith. You may have wondered why. Your heart aches when others seem indifferent. Why you feel the pain of your family deeply. Why you carry burdens that are not even yours. That compassion is a calling. God often chooses the one who feels the weight of others, because that person will become a carrier of healing. Your empathy is not accidental. It is spiritual responsibility in human form. God chose you to be a visionary in a household of survivors. Survivors focus on getting through the day. Visionaries focus on shaping tomorrow. Survivors protect themselves. Visionaries uplift others. Survivors accept what is. Visionaries pursue what could be. God placed vision in you so that your family could see beyond their present limitations. You were chosen to confront silent dysfunction with courageous love, not with condemnation, not with pride, but with truth wrapped in compassion. God does not call you to judge your family. He calls you to elevate them. He calls you to show them through your life that transformation is possible, that growth is available, that peace is attainable. There is power in being the one who breaks the silence. Silence can preserve harm, but truth can release healing. God chose you to be a voice that speaks when silence would continue pain. Your words, when guided by God, can reshape relationships, restore dignity, and redirect destinies. You were chosen to be a guardian of values. In a world and even in families where compromise can become normal, God placed you as a standard bearer. You are a reminder that integrity still matters, that character still matters, that faithfulness still matters. Your presence is a living standard that challenges complacency without needing to preach a single sermon. Remember that God is the center. God chose you because He saw your capacity for resilience. He knew you would bend but not break, stumble but not quit, cry but not surrender. He saw in you a spirit that would rise again and again, carrying scars as symbols of survival and wisdom. That resilience is a sign of divine preparation. You may have been born into conflict, but God is shaping you into a peacemaker. You may have been born into chaos, but God is shaping you into order. You may have been born into fear, but God is shaping you into courage. Your environment did not define you. God designed you to redefine your environment. You were chosen to carry intergenerational healing. Healing does not always come through dramatic moments. Sometimes it comes through consistent kindness, through patient listening, through steady faith. Your presence can soften hearts that have been hardened for decades. Your compassion can open doors that anger never could. God chose you because He saw leadership in how you handle pain. Anyone can be kind when life is easy, but God watches how you respond when life is hard. He saw that you would choose wisdom over revenge, humility over pride, love over bitterness. That choice is leadership. You were chosen to be a student of life in a family that may never have had the privilege of reflection. God gave you the ability to observe, to reflect, to learn from mistakes, to grow from experiences. That awareness is a gift meant not only for you, but for your entire family line. There are moments when you may feel the urge to give up on your family, to withdraw, to distance yourself emotionally. But remember, God chose you not to abandon your family, but to transform your relationship with them. Boundaries may be necessary, wisdom is essential, but love is still the core of your calling. God chose you because He saw that your life would be a bridge between brokenness and wholeness. You stand between what was and what will be. Your choices today echo into generations you may never meet. Your prayers today shape futures you may never see. You were chosen to redefine success for your family. Success is not only wealth, status, or recognition. Success is peace, integrity, faith, wisdom, and purpose. When you live by those values, you teach your family that life is more than survival, it is alignment with God. God chose you because He saw that you would not be satisfied with external appearances. You would seek inner transformation. You would seek truth beyond tradition. You would seek God beyond routine. That seeking spirit is rare, and God entrusts rare spirits with rare responsibilities. You were chosen to model emotional courage, to express feelings without fear, to address conflict without violence, to seek understanding without pride. In families where emotions may have been suppressed or explosive, God raised you to demonstrate emotional wisdom. God chose you because He saw that you would listen. Listen to others, listen to yourself, listen to Him. In a world full of noise, listening is a spiritual discipline. Listening is leadership. Listening is love. You were chosen to be a storyteller of hope. Your life story, with all its chapters of pain, confusion, growth, and healing, is a narrative of God's faithfulness. When others see how you have changed, how you have grown, how you have endured, they will see God's hand at work. God chose you because He saw that you would not waste your suffering. You would turn pain into wisdom, wounds into empathy, struggles into strength. You would not let hardship make you hard. You would let it make you deep. You were chosen to be a cultivator of peace. Peace is not the absence of conflict. It is the presence of wisdom. Peace is not silence, it is understanding. Peace is not weakness, it is strength under control. Your pursuit of peace is a divine assignment. God chose you because He saw your potential to influence quietly. Not through domination, but through example. Not through shouting, but through consistency. Not through pressure, but through presence. Influence rooted in humility is powerful in the eyes of God. You were chosen to be a witness that destiny can rise from difficulty, that purpose can emerge from pain, that light can shine from darkness. Your life is proof that God's plans are not limited by human circumstances. There is a divine dignity in your assignment. Even when it feels heavy, it is holy. Even when it feels lonely, it is sacred. Even when it feels misunderstood, it is meaningful. God chose you with intention, precision, and love. So stand in your identity with reverence. Walk in your calling with patience. Speak with wisdom. Act with compassion. Seek God with sincerity. Remember that you are not just a member of a family. You are a chosen instrument in the hands of God. Positioned to change a lineage, to heal a story, and to illuminate generations with His light.